change my playlist real quick.
I still don't understand how you listen to music while we do
Here we are. It's the power of mental disability.
Yeah, I guess that's a good excuse.
You know what's funny? It's like I can do it here, but then if I'm at work and I have my earbud in and like there's a machine running behind me or something and someone's trying to talk to me, I'm like, what? Like I can't.
Dude, if I'm
But like if I'm sitting here and have music on in the background, I'm fine. Like
dude, I'm not one of those people. If I'm listening to music, like I either have to turn it way down or pause it for somebody to talk, or if like I'm watching a movie and somebody tries to talk to me, I have to pause it, have my conversation, then continue. Like I get, my brain just doesn't work that way. Like I can't do it.
half the time I just stare at people and pretend like I heard them. And I'm like, yeah.
I feel like you do that anyways. So
Yeah, it's true.
Wow.
But here we are. This is the first THP episode we've done in a minute. I think the last one was like September.
Was it really?
Yeah. Because when I was making the graphic, the last one I had was September.
Jesus.
So it's episode 227. It's brought to you by Fulvius Apparel, fulviusapparel.com. Get your Tampa CarpetFest shirts. They're on the website. I specifically chose some District Tribal ends for the shirts themselves because those are probably the most comfortable shirt you will ever own. In my opinion, it's the best on the market. So feel the difference. Like if you thought the regular Gildans that I usually use were nice, these are like a whole nother step up from those. So
did you make mine?
I have it. I have not made it, but I have it. Blanks just came in today, so for some of them. So even mine that I ordered came in. So
nice.
FulviusApparel.com. Use the code THN at checkout. Get 15% off your order. That is the exclusive promo code for THN listeners and viewers like you. Hats, hoodies. It's hoodie weather. Supposedly we're getting snow this weekend, but they've been saying that for the last like 4 weekends, and it hasn't happened. So I'm calling bullshit. But
as somebody who's very in tune with the weather because of their job, it was only last weekend they're potentially calling for it. And now this weekend they're really calling for it. But it's supposed, if we get actual snow, it'll be less than an inch.
Yeah, it's, I don't.
So
I'm not.
We're gonna get more frozen rain than anything.
Wonderful.
If we get any of it, which is actually worse. But
even better.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I don't think it's supposed to stick or anything.
That's probably worse. So,
who is supposed to get snow?
So just north of us is supposed to get actual snow. So Charleston area and above is supposed to get 1 to 4 inches of actual snow. But I'm pretty sure like we're right on the cusp of we might get an inch, we might just get some frozen rain. Then everywhere below us is supposed to get just some bad wintry mix, as the weatherman would call it. So your local stormwater guy's going to call it wintry mix.
Riders of the Storm.
You'll never live that. Let that one go, will you?
I won't. The first thing I think of is the Doors and Jake and his crew cleaning out construction sites and ditches. And
dude, I've moved up in the world. I ain't got to do any of that shit anymore. So
it's lonely at the top, isn't it?
It's actually quite nice. I'm not in charge.
It's great.
I'm not. No, it's like I'm not in charge of anyone. I'm not at the top, but I'm not at the bottom, and I have nobody under me, and I've only got one person over me. So it really doesn't matter at the end of the day. So it works out for me. But since Justin left, this show is also brought to you by blackboxcages.com. If you're looking for any racks, any cages, Black Box is the one-stop shop for all your needs. Super customizable. I've got everything you need. Heat, no heat, racks, cages, lights, UVB, no UVB. What are they? call it bulb
Casters. Yeah, like
Yeah, they got stuff like outlet, or why can't I think of the freaking word? What do you put the bulb into? Jesus Christ.
fixtures.
Fixtures. They got fixtures to do like UVA heat bulbs. Like it's all so customizable. Whatever
You can dream it, you can make it.
Yeah, whatever your setup entails, Black Box will send that to you already set up to where it's literally plug and play. Some of your bigger cages you might have to build, but the quality is so good. It's very easy. It's a matter of putting some screws together and you'll be good to go. So hit them up. Whatever, if you're running, whether you're running your bioactive setups or you're running some of your more just basic bare bones, which is also fine. It's the majority of the stuff that I run. They've got it set up for you. They make it very, very easy for you. So definitely look into them if you're in the market for a cage or a rack. Best of the best. They use 3/4 inch PVC, right, Smitty?
I believe so.
So, and that stuff, in my opinion, I've got cages made out of 1/2 inch PVC, and I've got stuff made out of, and I've got the Black Box stuff made out of 3/4 inch. And you wouldn't think that 1/4 inch makes a difference, but Lord have mercy, it makes
In
such
so many ways.
it makes such a difference. Your
More than one.
cages and racks are so much sturdier using that 3/4 inch.
1/4 inch is all you need.
Dude, I'm saying it makes such a difference. Like, but the cages that I have from Black Box versus another caging company who I won't name, it's insane. Like, it's slightly heavier, but it's PVC, so it's really doesn't make that much of a
They
difference.
also don't use
especially
like
on cage.
they don't use the baseline like cheapest PVC possible. They
No,
use,
not at
they
all.
do use a higher quality PVC. Yes, it is heavier, but them things ain't flimsy when they're put together.
It's not enough to make a difference, and it's certainly not enough to make me not go to them.
There is zero play
Because of that.
if you wiggle
No.
like try to wiggle those things around, because you know how sometimes you'll get cheaper cages and you kind of like if you jostle them a little bit you can feel it kind of shifting,
Especially racks. If you get any type of tall rack from another company, you can really shift that sucker. But with these, man, they're sturdy as all get out. I will say, if you're like me and you got to move stuff around, move stuff into your garage for cooling, do yourself a favor, spend the extra few bucks, get casters. The toe kicks are great if that system's going to stay there and not move.
and as someone who has not gotten casters, get the casters.
Get the casters, man. I switched everything on to casters this year.
Even on carpet, get the casters.
Especially on carpet, get the casters. Good Lord. That was getting casters was a lifesaver for me this year.
That's one of my biggest regrets is
I put 3 entire Black Box systems into my garage, and before I was having to slide them onto the little rolly things you can get from Walmart for like sliding under cars and stuff. And it worked.
I forgot about that.
It worked, but man, it was a pain in my ass. And I got everything on the casters this year, and oh man, night and day difference. Huge shout out to my boy Sky for helping me get everything transferred onto those a couple weeks ago.
And some midnight salamandering.
That did not pan out.
It did not pan out. You want to go out to the spot? Sure. Drive like 45 minutes or
it's like a 25-minute drive. Shut up.
feels longer than that. I don't know. It was. What was the word that I came up for it? What did I call them?
I don't remember.
Salamanders?
I don't remember if it was like some made up verb for what we were doing or if it was for the salamanders themselves. I can't remember. It's irritating.
No idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, clearly. But anyways, yeah, so it's been a while since we've done THP.
Let's not forget about Steve Sanctuary.
Steve Sanctuary, Venom
Real
Hot
quick.
Sauce. Check it out. SteveSanctuary.com. Collect the whole set. They're all good. But Cottonmouth Sauce is where it's at. Of them all. That's if you're going to get any of them, it needs to be that one specifically because it is awesome. But he's got whole lineup. You can check him out. There's coral snake, copperhead, cottonmouth, pygmy rattler, and then canebrake, because they don't have easterns out there. So it's native venomous for Louisiana that each one is named after. Steve does a ton of public outreach, a lot of educational, not shows, but like talks and presentations, and does a lot of rehabilitating of either, people bring them sick animals that they just can't take care of anymore, or relocations. Like sometimes he'll go and get some snakes out of some bad situations on people's properties. And if those
Does
are in
that a
need of,
lot, actually.
if those are in need of medical assist, he gets them on the up and up and lets them back out on their merry way. And if you're buying that hot sauce, you're helping him do that directly. So stevesnaketrade.com, get the lineup. It's good. You'll like it.
Hell yeah.
But we have the return of CarpetFest coming up. Was it next weekend? Not this weekend, next weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Clay Emerton here brought it back. When was the last one that we even had? Was that 2019? Is that the last CarpetFest, Southeast CarpetFest?
20 is 2020. I think it was 2020. No, because I'm almost positive it was 2020. It was 2020 or 2019. I can't remember. But yeah, we did the Southeast Carpet Fest. The first Southeast Carpet Fest was either 2018 or 2019, and then we did two, and it was either 2018, 2019, or 2019, 2020 for the two of them. And it was always a good time. We always had a lot of fun. We did the two at P and Cody's, and then there's the Northeast Carpet Fest, there's Texas Carpet Fest. There's a lot of them that go on, and the Southeast is just kind of lacked. So Clay bringing it back, I mean, hats off to you, dude. I mean,
time it's in Tampa.
Yes. So this year, we're calling it Tampa Carpet Fest, and Clay, I mean, huge shout out to you for bringing it back, man. I personally can't thank you enough for doing it. It's no small thing to pull off. So
yeah, I think that'll be a good time.
What made you want to make it happen?
Again, I wanted to get back, get the group from Daytona back together. Is probably the biggest thing, Yeah. Not waiting a whole year before we hang out.
Yeah, we were talking about Daytona and stuff the other day, and how it can't get here soon enough. And so it's nice to have something at the first half of the year to look forward to, because I feel like a lot of the stuff, event wise, that at least the three of us in our group go to is typically on the back end of the year. So it is nice to have something on the front half there, especially this time of year, because I feel like it's kind of a weird lull for everybody. There's not a whole lot really going on. So it's awesome to have something to look forward to and hang out with the homies again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, nice to have something too nearby, in this region of the country, instead of needing to, get a flight and hotels and that sort of thing. So that's another reason also why I offered, if people needed a place to crash. I was like, you know what, if you need to, I've got couches and stuff. And if someone doesn't want to pay for the hotel or whatever, just if we do have anyone coming in from out of state. So try to save on expenses. Money's tight right now. Inflation's going nuts. So
yeah. Are you still right around the corner from Billy, or near Billy?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Literally probably 6 minutes, if that.
Damn.
Yeah.
Y'all try to see Daytona Keller more than once a year?
Keller's specifically not invited.
That's not true.
I'm just kidding.
He's not going to go, but he's still invited. He's too old.
He's a freaking loser.
Oh.
But no, man, I think it's good. Like you said, it's everybody the general gathering for most of the southeast, including some of our friends across the country as well. Like Daytona is kind of the gathering spot. But you're right, it's like it's the once a year that we all get together. I try to do my fair share of traveling to see everybody, throughout the year at least a couple times. But having an event to bring everybody together is super super important, and that's kind of the point of Carpet Fest. And it's been sad the last
Five
six
plus 6 years.
yeah 6 years or so that we haven't had something like this. So when I heard you were putting it on, Clay, I mean, I was super stoked for it, man. Like, I think it's really important that this stuff happens, just to bring everybody together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm excited about it.
Yeah. Can
We're
you
trying to
give
figure
us?
out what we're going to be doing. Yeah, I'm thinking about it. I was talking with Emily about it today about like what we're going to be grilling and that sort of thing. She thinks that we might want to do some. We'll do the grilling, but then does she want to make some barbecue or something? And instead of sides, she said make a variety of really awesome dips. And so the food, it'll be some food. It'll be hanging out. Um, Whoever comes should probably bring hoodies, jackets, because it doesn't seem. I thought it was going to be warmer, but it's going to be cold. But there's nothing wrong with that because we'll have a little fire
Yeah.
out back. We can hang out at. Um, we're talking about having some themed shots. We'll look up and see if there's a rattlesnake shot or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
There you
But yeah, probably a lot of talking and stuff. I'm working on a trivia right now, and I sent a little questionnaire so that we can get
go. Mhm.
information about different people that are coming. Whoever's coming, we won't get everyone probably, but we'll get whoever fills it out. And I'm gonna sprinkle that in with the carpet python trivia. So, because not everyone's gonna know shit about carpet pythons. Honestly, Emily is not gonna know any of this stuff.
Mhm.
So as I'm making the questions, I'm thinking, you guys are gonna know the answers to a lot of the stuff. Casey's gonna dominate probably. But what we'll do is we'll have it on, have you seen the trivia where you do it on your phone and, you put the code in
Yeah.
and you have it up on a TV,
Yeah.
projected up,
Yeah.
on a screen. And so then you put your answers in like a remote control on your own phone, and then it checks how fast whoever answered the fastest. So you
Yep.
get more points if you're quicker with it. And we'll
Oh.
sprinkle in the carpet python questions with the personal questions too. And I'll try to have fun with the personal questions. Um, and we'll try. I'll try to make it as fun as possible. So even for people who don't know a lot about um, snakes or carpets. So, and then
Yeah.
I'm thinking of making another one too. If I have enough time, I'm going to where I might do some real general stuff, like general reptile questions or veterinary medicine type questions, or just something still on not too advanced, but just something that for those who have studied and who know a lot more than me about this stuff might have fun with it. So yeah,
Well, give us a general like outline for the weekend, because I know you've said like there'll be some hangouts Fridays,
yeah,
some early Sundays. Can you talk about what kind of the agenda of the weekend?
sure. So yeah, if whoever comes in on Friday, we'll try to we'll go out and do something. And I mentioned before, we'll see who's going to be flying in, if anyone. If someone flies in, then I was planning on meeting maybe over at Whiskey Joe's. I don't know if you guys know what Whiskey Joe's is in Tampa, but it's right by the airport. And they have a tiki bar, and they usually I'll call in advance to find out if they're even going to have the tiki bar outside open, because the weather is getting a little weird right now.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But otherwise, we'll find somewhere to hang out on Friday night. If it comes down to it, we could hang out at my place easily, and that'd still be a great time. Um, and then I think some people will probably end up crashing here who don't stay at a hotel. We'll have Saturday morning. We'll do brunch. We'll figure out. I have a couple places nearby that are pretty awesome at brunch. And then this is for people who want to literally hang out all weekend. one of the things about Daytona that Emily noticed this last time was that it wasn't long enough. And
It
that's
never
another
is.
reason why this idea, I've had this idea before. I had it last year, but I felt stronger about it this year. And that's when I reached out to Billy, Casey, and Justin. And I said, you know what, I think this might be a good idea to do something, because Emily said next year we're for sure staying an extra day in Daytona. She says we're staying Sunday night. Like, it wasn't even a question. She said we're staying Sunday night because this wasn't long enough with the group. So
are
yeah,
we
kind of working with them.
actually. Me, Gabe,
Yeah.
and Jack are staying Sunday night this year because
Yeah.
we felt the same way, dude. Like, it's Sunday between trying to see the show and trying to say bye to everybody. Like, it just sucks. You're rushing, trying to get the car loaded and
Breaking down. Yeah.
it just sucks. So like we're actually staying Sunday night this year as well. So we'll be there Thursday through Sunday night, leave Monday morning.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I haven't
taking
reserved
that
the
Monday off
hotel yet.
is the way to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't do that up until last year, and like now I've regretted not doing it because
I told you every year
having that Monday, man, like just having that recovery day of like I don't have to be straight back to work, coming back, like it's the way to go.
Yeah.
Have you thought about setting up another table there?
I have. I have such a love-hate relationship with the vending thing.
Yeah.
Like I want to, but then it's also like just on the front of like getting the brand in front of more people so they're seeing it. Like it's great for that. It's a lot of money for inventory and stuff, which doesn't get me super psyched.
Yeah.
And then like if I'm gonna do it again, I need to do more than what I did the year before last when I did vend, as far as like probably need to do 2 tables, probably need to bring more inventory with more options. And it just, I don't know. I want to, but at the same time, I really enjoy, especially for Daytona in particular, like that just being a weekend where I don't have to really worry about any of that stuff. Like I could just hang out, so
it's really nice to not vend.
It's like I said, I like it. I enjoy most aspects of it, but I also found it to be pretty stressful making sure that I had everything and like constantly feeling like I was forgetting something in prep, leading up to it. And, I'm sure it's even more so stressful when you're dealing with animals and stuff with a heartbeat, but which I will say dry goods is the way to go because you don't have to worry about any of the paperwork. You don't have to do any of that, man. You just show up. It's great. Oh.
Yeah, well, Saturday we'll set up here. We'll do the CarpetFest event here at the house, and I have a decent sized lanai, and like I said, we have the indoor fire pit. We can set up a fire pit out back too if we wanted to. Even depends on how many people come. But we should have a good time here. I mean, as a hobby, I've got the snakes. That's one hobby. And during the day I do IT stuff. But the other hobby I do is I DJ karaoke three times a month, and at different bars around here. One of them is actually a pretty big bar that does it's like a Western country club that has acts on their way up or on their way down. But yeah, so I have karaoke equipment as my point. If we really wanted to set up a big big subwoofer and big 15-inch RCF speaker and the karaoke up on the screen. So I mean, we have options, we have stuff we could do that could be a hoot. And then just visiting is what we usually do, is visit anyways, talk and stuff. So
yeah, definitely not worried about there not being anything to do. It's just nice to hang out with everybody and kick it.
And then Sunday, for those who are wanting to hang out one more time, before Sunday morning, we'll talk about doing brunch again if we want to, but you can even do some Sunday brunch here, and have the non-snake people cook for us because they have to have some reason for being here. But yeah, put them to work. That's what I was telling any of my friends who live in the neighborhood in the area. I was like, if you come over, you're gonna have to be on working the grill or doing something. So, but yeah. So we'll do that, and then I don't know. Is it Super Bowl Sunday?
It is.
So that's a whole nother thing. There could be people who want to stay and watch football. I've got a pretty decent sized TV that I got when I was tariff scared, when I thought everything was going to go up. I said, well, I have this 12-year-old TV, and did the measurements to the couch and went ahead and got a decent little TV, just a TCL, but football looks really good on it. So there's always that option too. If we don't want to go to Wing House. Not knocking Wing House though. Probably finding a table is going to be kind of a bitch. So
yeah, it's. I'm sure it's going to be nuts.
Yeah, any of those places on Super Bowl Sunday are going to be
rowdy,
to say the least. Yeah, but
well,
Green Bay's not in the Super Bowl, so I don't really
Jake
care.
doesn't care. Yeah,
Nope.
There we go.
I only care about football when Green Bay's involved, so whatever.
Nerd. It is nice though that it's where the CarpetFest thing is sort of being brought back to sort of how it started, and it's not that there was nothing wrong with previous Southeast CarpetFest by any means, and having had a pretty decent hand in helping to orchestrate those. Like, it's a lot of work when you do it at the level that we were doing it with when we did it at P and Cody's, as far as like the auction stuff and like everything else. Like, it was stressful. Like, I think it was cool to do the auction and to like make that all a thing. Like, I would have been happy to do it again, maybe on like just a slightly smaller scale, but with the way weather has been and stuff lately, I think shipping would be probably a nightmare to orchestrate and get together. But I am glad that it's going back to being sort of simpler and what it was originally meant to be, kind of thing.
yeah,
I do feel like, and this isn't knocking any of the CarpetFest that go all out, but like at the end of the day, I do think there's a beauty in simplicity, and not saying this is simple at all. I'm not saying that this is a big thing to put on. Yeah, but like to do all the auctions and the talks and yada yada yada, that's not what CarpetFest was built from. CarpetFest was built from people hanging out and having a good time. Clay, you're already going above and beyond to do stuff like trivia and possibly like doing karaoke and things like that. That's already enough as it is, in my opinion. But like in past CarpetFest, like it wasn't supposed to be a stressful thing. And I really didn't have anything to do with the more stressful stuff, but Smitty, I know you did, and it's just a lot, and it kind of just pulls the enjoyment out of it, and I'm not downplaying this CarpetFest at all, but I think this is far better than trying to plan talks from veterinarians and herpetologists and yada yada yada. In my opinion, these things are for people to drink and have fun.
Yeah, and I mean, like
that's my thought on it. Like, I don't know.
Previous ones were also sort of like hot and heavy in the middle of the satanic panic of Nido. Where
I saw that video of one of the last ones, and I saw the Nido presentation, and it scared the shit out of me. That was when I was just starting to get real heavy into breeding carpets. I bred carpets years and years ago, like 15 years ago, and but after that, I just had them as pets. And right as I started around COVID, when I started to get into breeding, I watched that presentation, and yeah, super scary.
Yeah, and I mean, unfortunately, there was like that satanic panic sort of element to it, where it was everyone sort of freaked out, and it's like, well, what do we do? And everyone's like, nobody knows. Like,
That was the
my snakes have nido. What do I do? I don't know. Separate them for eternity and put them in a padded room so you never see them again. Like
that was the first one we ever did. That I remember the first CarpetFest we did had the Nido round table, and it was full of great information. But man, it was just a lot. You know what I mean? Like it was a lot to put together, and it was a lot for people to take in, and it was good for that. But I don't know. I like this version a little bit more, in my opinion. You know?
Yeah, I was messaging with someone today about it, and I said, if it came down to it, I'd much rather have 20 people than 200 people, 10 over 100, because I feel like when there's less people too, you're able to exchange stories. You're less embarrassed about
100%.
Asking questions that, and Jake, I ask some funny questions sometimes, but so but if I'm in a big group, I'm not going to ask anything. I'm going to feel stupid. So I think when you're in a smaller group, you can just kind of it's just a lot more intimate, and I feel like the people who come will get more out of it.
Yeah,
there's a big difference between like talking amongst friends than talking to a bunch of
stranger danger,
a bunch of PhDs and people you don't know. Like
I'm already fully accustomed to asking really stupid questions on a mass scale because I feel like I do it every week. So I'm like, whatever, I'll do it. I'm well aware that I'm doing it too. Be like, this question's probably going to be really dumb, but I'm gonna just throw it out there.
No, I get it.
Someone else is thinking it. I'm just saying it.
And weirdly, like I'm kind of on the I'm with Clay on this because like weirdly, like when I'm on a podcast, I don't mind asking dumb questions because like for some reason I've separated that from like my normal life. But when I'm talking to somebody face to face, like it's a lot harder for me to possibly sound dumb, and I don't want to sound dumb in front of a lot of people. So, it's even though like the podcast, I'm going to sound dumb in front of a whole lot more people, but at least they're going to laugh behind my back and not in front of my face. So I'm kind of with Clay on that. I'd rather a smaller, more intimate turnout than anything, just again, you have close friends, close people. And, even if there's people you don't know, like there's not pressure to, be somebody you're not, because it's also CarpetFest isn't for, we call it CarpetFest because this originally started with, anybody who doesn't know, CarpetFest started with the NPR crew over in Pennsylvania, and kind of, excuse me, sorry, it kind of spread out throughout the U.S. and NPR obviously is Morelia Python Radio, so and they were super on the carpets, and that's where the term came from. But that it doesn't mean you're excluded if you're not into carpets or you don't keep Morelia or anything like that. Like this is a reason for snake people to come together and hang out. That's it. CarpetFest is just a name. So anybody who's interested at all is more than welcome to come and is encouraged to come. This isn't a fancy club exclusive to Carpet Python or Morelia people. Like it's just not like that. It's literally a hangout time.
Save that for the green tree people.
Yeah, right. Exactly. It's literally just a good time to hang out with like-minded people who love reptiles. So that's all it is.
Green tree people are the 1% of the 1%.
I keep my comments to myself.
No, it always is so cool to me that how it all sort of started with the NPR guys and how it was a ball that got picked up and ran with across the country. Like there's no like real organization behind it, like as far as an entity, it's just the community and the hobby just doing its own thing and making it happen, pure bootstrapping. I think that's really cool. I don't feel like you see that a lot in other hobbies. but
you really don't outside of like
car
actual
show stuff.
Well, outside of shows in general. So you think reptile shows, car shows, stuff like that. It's always a show. It's never a, hey, let's hang out. There's no agenda. There's no money exchanged. I'm not buying anything from you. You're not buying anything from me. It's literally, let's just hang out, eat, drink, have a good time, get to know each other, and see all the friends we've known for years that we only see once or twice a year.
Yeah.
It's just not a thing that really happens. And I don't know, like if anybody knows me, they know I go and do a lot, like, because that's something that's very important to me, is seeing my friends and the people I love and care about more than just at a show and a reason to go. So stuff like this gives people who can't do that. I'm not downing anybody who doesn't do that. You know, it's very hard to do. I'm in a unique position. I get PTO at work. I'm single with no kids. Like I don't have a lot holding me down, so I can go and do that type of stuff. But a lot of people, it's not like that. So they have to have a reason, you know, yada, yada, yada. So things like this are extremely important because it gives people a reason to go and see the people they love and care about, you know? So
are you planning on vending Daytona again this year?
I'm gonna see what happens with my with the pairings I have going on. So
yeah, well, I mean, what's your season
yeah.
looking like so far? Like, what are you?
So so I just started bringing well now, at this point I'm about done with the pairings, but I brought the snakes together a few weeks ago and you know, started introductions and everything, and right in the first week of that, as the room's coming up, all of a sudden I came home one day and I saw an egg like on the ground, and then I saw 3 eggs, and then I saw a bunch of slugs. And so one of I have a zebra that cycled, and I didn't know that it's because the weather does crazy things, and I didn't have um like I was gauging the outdoor weather and how the, you know, the room temperature is changing at night. But I had heating elements going this year where I didn't last year. I was just using a heater in the room, which I was blaming that for having so many um, off pairings. And anyway, I'm trying to figure that out. But bottom line is I have 4 eggs up in the incubator out of a whole bunch of eggs, and maybe you guys can inform me if I got some slugs because I had the room down to like 68 degrees when she was trying to be on heat. I saw her starting to come up on the heat, and I was like, why is that's not, I didn't believe it. So I felt really, really bad. I had like 2 or 3 days where Emily was just like, she didn't ask me what was wrong with me, but I told her what happened. She goes, I was wondering what was wrong with you for the last 3 days. You've been so off. And it's like, because I was so disappointed that I didn't read my snake. She was off cycle. So that's one of the pairings that I had. Um, the eggs that are cooking right now, I'm stupid excited about though. Like the 4, if they all go, the um, it's Nikita, the gamma with a real pretty zebra that I have. So you know, I would love to have some sort of like a you know, a gamma zebra that I produce. I picked one up from Balin last year, and it's really, really pretty. But um, I I know what I think the snake will be. One of those would look like. So if I got 1 or 2, I would. If I got 1, I would be ecstatic. But this is of the remaining eggs. I'll bet you anything I would be likely to want to keep them all. So I held back the year before. I had a diamond that I put with Nikita, and that was one that I wasn't sure if I was going to get anything out of, and I did, and I held back 5 of those, and they are so pretty.
Let me let's back up for a second because I'm curious. How long had you I assume you had them paired when you got the eggs, correct?
So
When
yeah,
did you
and
get, when did
so
you
there
get
was
the eggs,
something.
and when did you have them paired?
So I was doing, and this has to do with Billy was laughing at me because I told him, I said, I'm doing early introductions on these snakes because this is my third year trying to get the Maya pair to go that I got from Andrew Paris. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they don't like I need them to know each other, and then I'll pull them, and then I'll drop the room temps. And so, so I had, I paired the snakes that I thought I was going to ultimately put together early and let them hang out in between feedings a little bit. And
When was this?
I don't remember, but this was before before I cooled the room.
Okay, but are we talking like
So this is like
October?
September-ish or whatever. I don't
Okay,
know.
yeah,
Like
yeah, that's what I was at.
it's
Just
a
a
while
rough
ago.
like
It's
September.
something that I
Okay.
completely it was off my radar completely. I just didn't.
Yeah, yeah, that's
In
fine.
the
I was just
future,
curious the general month.
if I saw anything like this in the future, like a female behaving that way, I would know what happened. But yeah, so it was so that's one of the pairings. Going back to the question of will I vend that pairing, I could have potentially had a lot of fertile eggs, and if I just that one clutch alone, I would have said yes, I'm gonna vend at Daytona. But I only have 4 snakes, so I don't know what's gonna happen there. The Maya pair, I don't know if I'm gonna wanna the MIAs. I don't know if I'm gonna want to sell any of those immediately because I'm probably gonna want to hold them all and see how they turn out, before I decide what my holdbacks are going to be. Um, and then I have Tampa, the CVR Jungle that I usually bring to shows. She is right now with Lieutenant Dan that I got from Tony Hurt. I'm not kidding.
I love that name.
And
Dun, dun, I
this
got ice
snake,
cream.
this snake is smoking. But yeah, it's a zebra diamond caramel.
Oh,
So this is a very, very, very pretty snake, and so we'll see what might come of that. And there's more snake. There's more that if I get a clutch there, am I going to want to sell any of them immediately? I'm at a point right now where, but I don't mind. Like last year, I only sold I think a couple snakes, and it paid for the show, paid for the gas, paid for everything. So I don't mind if I only sell a couple snakes at a show. There, I do the shows more for promoting, carpets, getting
yeah.
more people into carpets, and um, also I usually have return customers, even customers who it's their first time at Daytona, but they bought a snake from me online. They'll come up to me and talk to me and confirm, that they got what they thought they were getting from me, and or they can hold me accountable basically. Um, as a breeder. So there's different reasons why I would vend, not just selling snakes. So and just like this last year, of the 5 that I still have from that one clutch, I had them up and I had them priced high, and I am so glad that I only sold one of them. I'm so like I would have 6 right now, but I mean all 5 of those, and they're all 5 female. Um, and Billy double checked, and he got the same thing I did, and he's like, "Wow, Nikita loves making females." But so what that means is now when I'm buying these snakes from Casey, and when I'm getting one of Tony's proven breeders, I'm getting males.
Mm-hmm.
So because my plan ultimately is to put them with these really really gorgeous, they're diamond crosses. They're just really pretty carpet mutts.
Yeah.
So
What's
but I'm
the
excited about them.
And I do have to say, dude, like as far as you have a beautiful show presentation. Like
yeah? Your setup's really on
your
point.
setup is incredible with bringing the cages with the lights and all the you have a beautiful show presentation there, dude. And I just hats off to you for putting in the effort like that. And I think there's something to show versus like you have somebody like yourself who brings quality animals, but say you only have 10 to 20, you know, whatever you produce, blah, 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 versus somebody with 100 snakes and a bunch of deli cups across a table. Not saying there's anything wrong with that, but somebody who puts the effort in like you, bringing in cages with lights and really lighting up the animals and showing how they really look, especially as adults. Because that's where the biggest thing that carpets lack is like babies. A lot of
species.
Other than, exactly. Especially things like jungles. IJ's a little easier, you know, they're bright red babies, you know, like it's not hard to sell that. But like a jungle, kind of brown, kind of derpy, but then you show like, hey, this is the adult, and you have it under some really nice, some really nice LED lights and really lighting up the animal and showing what it could look like. Personally, I think you do it right. So hats off to how you vend those shows, man. Personally.
Yeah, appreciate that. It's, you know, I'm doing it for a hobby. And so, you know, if I'm doing it for a living, you know, things might be different. But I think that if I had a place or where I would want my place to be is since it's a hobby, is just getting new people into carpets. And I've had a few people approach me and just say, "You're the reason why I'm into carpets. You're the reason why I'm at Daytona." So the next generation's coming up, and that's another thing. We'll have probably some people who are new to carpets and breeding, at CarpetFest, and this will give them a more intimate, to give them an opportunity to rub shoulders with guys like you and Billy and Casey and just people with experience who can answer questions in a small environment.
Yeah.
So
that's the best feeling, isn't it? When somebody comes up and they're like, "Hey, you're the reason I'm into this." Yeah. Like, I personally, nothing beats that for me. Like, I've had a couple people tell me specifically, like, "Hey, I'm into popping carpets because of you," and I never would have imagined that would be a thing. And it means a lot to me. You know, I can only imagine. Like,
people blame me for Baird's prices going up like crazy. So I don't get the thank you for turning me on to Baird's. I get the thanks for making them go up in price, jackass. Like,
hey, I never made anything go up in price, but I've had a few people tell me I'm the reason they're into pop ones like they are, and that just makes my day, man. You know, I love it.
Well, I think it's also for like CarpetFest in particular is great for those people that are not necessarily new to the hobby, but like getting into breeding and to be able to ask those questions in a setting sort of like how we were talking about earlier, where it's not a big group of people. You don't have to worry about looking or sounding like an idiot. It's good for them to be able to get those questions and stuff from people they can trust. And it's like, you're face to face with these people, you're hanging out with them. I think a lot of the, like, especially podcast and like YouTube people, some of them feel sort of like unapproachable, but not in like the physical sense. Not like when we hang out at Daytona, like we've heard it from multiple people. They're like, "Man, you guys are like just like you are when you're doing the podcast." It's like, because that's just who we are. Like it's just like people. I don't know how to explain it, but like Sanchez came to Daytona for the first time. He's like, "I can't believe that I'm like hanging out with all you guys." And it's like, to us, it's just kind of weird because it's like,
we're like, why?
Out. It's just Daytona. Like, we're just chilling. Like, it's not, I think for people to be able to go to something like that and talk to the people that are like really heavy into anything, carpets, whatever, and just like a nice, relaxed hangout kind of environment is.
There's no pressure behind it.
Yeah.
You know, like, I don't know, it gives people a chance to, because like, I don't know, man, it's hard when there's 100 people in a small setting. It's hard to grab somebody, because I do it all the time. I see people that I would love to talk to at Daytona, and I'm like, I look over and I'm like, they're busy.
I'll talk to them later. Yeah.
They don't need to talk to me, so I just move on with my day, and it's like, at a smaller, more intimate setting, like we talked about at CarpetFest, I feel like gives people an opportunity to actually, have conversations with people that they've always wanted to talk to, and
I think a better way to put it is like when we went to that first CarpetFest and Burke was there.
Yeah.
For us, it was
100%.
like, man, it's like we're hanging out with the Podfather. Like, this is, like I feel like any other hobby or community, like you don't really get that opportunity to like legitimately just hang out.
Dude,
There's panels and stuff at like cons and things like that, but that's not the same,
Dude, it's so funny you bring up Burke, because like the first podcast, or the first CarpetFest,
It's surreal.
Yeah, the first CarpetFest, like I hadn't talked to him all night, and of course I waited till I was like 2 shakes to the wind, and I come up to Burke just like absolutely ripped, and I'm like, dude, I just want to say I love you, I respect you, blah blah blah. Dapped him up, talked to him for a minute, and I was like, can you take a picture with me? And he was like, hell yeah. Like I'm drunk as shit, holding the drink in my hand.
That picture somewhere.
Yeah, it's in there somewhere. I'm hammered, dude. He's probably sober as a gopher, but I mean, that's all it took for me to walk up to him. I didn't talk to him all night, but now if I see him anywhere, I'll walk right up to him. I consider him a friend, and
that's one of the things about the hobby that I do love, is just the fact that it's like it's big, but it's not too big. It's not so big that you can't meet the people that you listen to on a regular basis, or you have questions, like you can actually just message the person and be like, hey, what's your thoughts on X, Y, and Z?
Yeah.
Like, I don't feel like you can do that in a lot of other hobbies. Like when I think about the other hobbies that we're into, and like Phil's line of work, like some of those people, like you can message them, but you ain't ever going to hear from them. Like they're never going to reply. They're probably not even going to open it, And so
because there's a lot more people who give a shit about that stuff.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's just the size of it. It's like, the bigger you get, like if you're into skateboarding, like you're not going to message Tony Hawk and expect to get a response from Tony Hawk. It's not, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But if I want to ask Rob Stone something about rhinos, or like even the people that write some of the papers that we read and like obsess over, like those people are obtainable. Like they're easy to, there's ways to get in contact with them and be able to, have a conversation with them. Like I was thinking about that today, because one of the tarantula species I'm keeping, like I want to know why males are so hard to find. And so like I was thinking on my way home from work, like I should find the authors of the paper where they describe that species and ask them, like, hey, when you guys were out there actually looking for this stuff, like, did you see males, or was it like, what was the ratio of males to females you were finding? Like, do you guys have any biological explanation for why that is? And it's like the fact that you can, thanks to the internet, you can now just do that is wild. But on even a more intimate scale, with CarpetFest and stuff like that, like it's wild to think of all the people that we've met and now call friends that years ago it was like it didn't seem like something that would ever happen. It's just it's crazy. It's wild to me.
One of the things I think of when talking about that is when we first started THP. I mean, we were a few months into it, and I remember I messaged Smitty one day, and I was like, hardy har har, imagine if NPR hit us up to do a collab episode and talk about Morelia, totally joking. And literally the next day, Eric Burke hit us up to do an episode together. And that was one of the most surreal moments.
Because he wiretapped our phones
of my life. No, it was just weird. It was just weird, man, and it's just like it makes you realize that like we're all just people trying to hang out, man.
Bunch of nerds, man.
Yeah. But I do want to get into you, Clay. So outside of CarpetFest, we like to. I know the show is promoting a lot of CarpetFest, but I also want to promote you. How'd you get into all this? Tell us
Why
about,
carpets?
tell us
Why
about
not?
you. Tell us about your start with reptiles and snakes. And I know you said you bred carpets 20 years ago, but let's hear it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I had one clutch 20 years ago, they were it was a coastal with a coastal jag, and all the babies were like corkscrewing. It
Oh
was
gosh.
it
Jeez.
was bad. It was really bad, and I was like, I don't want to do that again. Um, and then shortly after that, looking at that questionnaire, like beginner's errors, it's one of the
I like
questions
that
I sent
question a
out.
lot. Yeah.
And I was like, well, and then I've gotten a bunch of responses back already, and someone mentioned, keeping them at the wrong temps. And I remember I had moved my whole snake room out of the house to a shed out back and put, like space heaters in it. And that was not good. That they could not, the space heaters couldn't keep up. And so, I ended up with some, you know, respiratory infections and stuff in my snakes, and I didn't know what was going on. And
I think that was me
um,
actually.
it was it was really discouraging, and I needed a long break after that. And I took one, and I had that big, like waterfall African cichlid aquarium, snake cage enclosure in my house, and I kept a zebra in there. So in the years in between that negative incident and today, I had one pet carpet, and that was it. While I was licking a very real wound. Um, so I was pretty skin up after that error. I will never move snakes out to if there are people who have the money to do that right, and I'm not one of them. So it was like a shed
Yeah.
that was not insulated. And that works in some months, but anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not doing that again. Um, but um, but yeah, I got into carpets just because I was already into reptiles. I'm from Southern California. We always kept reptiles as kids, and I was always trying to get my mom into letting me keep reptiles, and she's always saying no. And so when I got my first house, I tried all kinds of different reptiles. I had the Savannah monitors, where I in the garage built a massive enclosure for two Savannah monitors that I housed together. I don't know anything about Savannah monitors, you guys. I had a Tegu. I tried a variety of reptiles, and at some point I ended up with a girlfriend, and I did saltwater aquariums.
Oh yeah, you were into aquaculture for a
Yeah,
while, right?
yeah, and I had stingrays and a big eel, and
Wow,
I
that's
did all kinds of stuff. I had a refugium with mangroves, and a deep sand bed. I tried all of it. If you know saltwater. I wasted a ton of money in it, lost a lot of animals, had different incidents. Um, but it was interesting. It was a hobby while I was in school. In college, that was in my 30s when I started in college, and that's it ended up being more work though than and more money than I probably should have put into a hobby. So but yeah, and then I had a girlfriend that had a carpet python. That was my first exposure to a carpet python. It was a jungle, and um, it, she's a very influential person. She also was the one who got me to be able to talk on a microphone and not be overly shy, where I can DJ now in probably almost any size group, and it doesn't bother me. She's the one who got me to do that, like broke me into that and showed me that you're not going to die. Um, so, but yeah, but that snake that she had, that jungle, was the coolest thing. And um, I'd had other snakes before, and I did the red tail boa, etc. Went through all the stages in my early 20s after I got my first house, and that carpet, I was sold on carpets at that point. I did do green trees, but the most I think I ever had was like five. I think I had maybe five different green trees.
Damn, I didn't realize you were a fucking douche. No,
I still have some of those 2x2x2s. I still have some of those cubes in my master bedroom closet. So never got rid of those, and yeah, I've got carpets in there right now.
Nice.
So
that was a joke, by the way. For anybody.
No, green trees they're fine.
Exactly.
They're pretty. They're pretty. So
Yep.
Boring as hell, but they're pretty.
Yeah,
they are. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
I gotta start feeding mine up, man.
So
I gotta start cycling.
But yeah. But so now I don't now coming back into breeding since COVID as a hobby. I don't breed jags that corkscrew. If that did happen, I haven't had it happen yet. But I did have one person tell me from a pairing that I can't do anymore. I got rid of the snake, but I did have someone tell me they did have one that started a corkscrew later in life, and I was really shocked. And I said, I will swap that snake out for you if you want to. If you're attached to it, I understand, but if you want, I'll take that snake. But other than that, I haven't had any, thank God, with massive corkscrewing or any corkscrewing that I've seen. So, but that was that first negative experience breeding carpets. That was pretty scary.
Yeah, the whole.
I don't know if you've ever done that. I don't know if either of you have done that before, but it's not a good feeling when you have the babies around doing that.
I'll say I never produced jags, but I've had several. Well, I say several. I had the second carpet I ever had was a 50% IJ jag, and he was kind of a mid corkscrew. He wasn't bad. It was mostly when he got excited about food, then he would get a little topsy-turvy,
I do the same thing.
Yeah, so he wasn't bad, but he was a very calm snake. Like, he was very chill. But actually, the worst non-venomous bite I've ever taken was from a super caramel jag that was sold to me as an adult. Smitty's laughing because he knows this. I've never owned a jag that was so bad.
That snake was the fucking worst, dude.
Like, it wasn't a mean snake, but he was so out of it all the time that he thought everything was food. I couldn't touch him. Literally, the day I took him out of the bag, because the guy sold him to me as an adult. He was a proven breeder, and I was planning on putting him to a caramel female. I'll never do a jag pairing. So I was putting him to a caramel female. It was a super caramel jag, and I was like, all right, this is going to be a good pairing, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, how does he jag out? Like, how bad is this neuro? And he was like, oh, he's not bad, yada, yada, yada. I'm not going to name names. Not in that line of business. I took the snake out of the bag, and he was already just kind of, looking at me weird. And I was
I've had that experience.
Yeah. And I was like, I don't know. Like, he seems a little weird. And I went to move, and he took a swipe at my pants. And I was like, no, let's put him back. I think he's jagging out real bad. And as soon as as soon as I said that dude turned around and latched onto my thumb like no carpet has ever done before. Like, I've had carpets food response bite me in the sense of like they hit me really hard, but they let go. Yeah, I've had plenty of snakes do that. This thing latched onto my thumb, wrapped around my wrist, wouldn't let go for nothing. I mean, yeah, I was literally gushing blood out of my hand. Like,
pictures he sent me.
I'm trying to get this dude off, and it literally was like one of those things. I had to grab him behind the head, push him into my hand to get his teeth out of my thumb. And It was horrible. And from then on out, like I couldn't touch him. Like I never held him again. I ended up selling him back to the guy that originally produced him, ironically. The guy that sold me it didn't produce him. He just bought him from the guy that produced him. He brought him, I bought him from him, and I sold him back to the guy that produced him. Bagging that snake up is the video that Smitty's thinking of that snake just trying to grab me the entire time. It wasn't out of aggression. Like he wasn't like in a strike mode, striking at me. Every time I grabbed him, he would turn around, just mouth gaping and opened. And
you must be food.
That was after dealing with that snake was the day I chose to never breed jags. Like I was just like, I will never produce something this bad. I won't do it because like I'm not saying that against anybody who's ever produced jags.
Yeah.
That just turned me off to the gene altogether because he was so bad. I could not touch him at all. Like worst non-venomous bite I've ever taken. Like he was horrible. And I had a jag that was 93% poplin. She was completely normal. Didn't do anything. Like no
was that
neuro.
That killer yellow one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh boy.
She was killer.
That was
but
thing.
After dealing with him, I said, nope. I sold every jag I had in the collection because like I just didn't want to chance that dude. He was so bad. And sure enough, I sent him to the guy that originally produced him, and he was like, yeah, he sired a clutch for me that year. And it was like, okay, like good for you, I guess. But like, dude, it was bad. That snake was horrible. So I get you. I feel you of how like bad it makes you feel and how terrible it can be. Like,
is it accurate to say though that, and I mean, I don't have my finger on the pulse of the carpet world as much as I used to, which even then wasn't a ton, but like it definitely seems like over the last 10 years, like the jag thing is kind of definitely died down in terms of people putting more emphasis on it. Does that seem accurate?
I don't know. Is that question for Jake?
No, both of you.
I think there's a lot of people excited about. I had to respond to 2 emails today for people wanting the Diamond Jungle Jags.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and mine are sweet as can be, but also, and you know, I only have one a breeder, and that's Nikita, and Nikita's super docile and sweet, and doesn't show any heavy signs of neuro. If any, it's during feeding, like a little weirdness. But overall, you know, the snake. If I'm watching that snake or holding the snake, I don't notice anything. But yeah, the babies are awesome. So, but as far as you know, like a coastal jag or you know, just regular, straight up jag, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's never going to be something that people get away from altogether because let's be honest, it's one of the most beautiful morphs out there. Like they are so gorgeous. Like I love jags. Like I think they're beautiful, especially like some of your Diamond Jungle jags, Clay. Like it's such a
here next weekend when you're here, I'll show you the 5 holdbacks. That I'm stoked about.
Yeah,
but,
I mean,
but yeah,
they're so hard to beat. They bring out so much yellow. The patterning is incredible. Like it's such a beautiful snake. It's just a matter of, you know, like I don't really know how it works. It seems like when you outcross, the more you outcross, the better it gets. But I know it's more of a morph thing versus a genetic thing. But it does seem like your pure coastal stuff is a little worse for wear than some of your more outcross stuff. And I don't know. I've never bred it, but Clay, from what you're saying and the stuff you've bred, seems a little bit more outcross and they don't have as many issues.
There's some diversity in there. If you can, that I'm having some decent luck there so far. But I've also seen you know, Diamond Jungle Jags that that corkscrewed. I've seen it, and
Yeah.
yeah, because I bought it. I bought there was like 3 or 4 of them from a guy who got into the hobby really quick and got out really quick. I think he was out of Virginia, and I bought several of. I found them on Craigslist, and I bought them, and that's where I got Nikita. But also in that grouping, there was some really, really pretty snakes that one of them just corkscrewed right out of the box. And I said, "You didn't tell me about this." I only paid $1,000 for it, and it was just really pretty. But um, I, I was like, I can't breed this. I'm not breeding this. I don't care how pretty the snake is.
Yeah.
So I sold it as a pet to someone. But yeah.
Yeah. I
But
mean,
when I'm breeding them now, I pay attention to who I'm putting them with. So, like I put Nikita with Tampa. Tampa's a pure jungle. Yeah, and that's a Nick Mutton, the CVR one. Um, that's a safe bet. If I get some pretty MIAs, then I'll consider that. I know that some people might see that as sacrilege, but if I have several of them, and I think trying to put in that um, the less outcross snake to a jag is a better bet
Yeah.
for all the way around. So,
yeah, and I would agree. Like I've seen more like, so for me, like I was more into the Popwins or IJs in the carpet world. And the higher percent IJs you got as far as the Jags went, like the less neuro you saw. And again, I don't know if it was luck of the draw, if there's actually something to it, but it seems like there is something to it. I know it's supposed to be attached to the morph, but it does seem that there's more, like the more inbreeding you do with the more issues you're going to have.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like I said, that 93% IJ jag that I had was, I mean, she was perfect, like never had any issues. And I actually had Clay, are you familiar with the Madame Blueberry stuff?
no, I've heard of it.
Yeah,
I've heard of it, but I'm not familiar with it.
I'm not super familiar with it, but I had a guy that, or I knew a guy that I don't even know where he is anymore, if he even still is into snakes, but he was one of the original people that worked with the Madame Blueberry line. And I had a Madame Blueberry Diamond Jungle Jag from him. And again, perfect. No neuro whatsoever. Like she was fine, but anything, the 50-50, like he had it, but it wasn't bad. It was mostly when he was feeding, like, and he got excited, he would jag out a little bit. But that pure super caramel jag that I had was the worst. And it was like, that was kind of my radar for it. The more outcrossed it was, the better that neurological issue was, versus the stuff that was pure coastal, then it just got worse. And I'm not saying this is the way, this is how do you get rid of jag, because you'll never get rid of it. They all have it, but it definitely seems more prominent in the stuff that's the quote unquote pure coastal versus stuff that's outcrossed with jungle and IJ and yada yada yada. But I don't think jag's ever going away, because I think there are plenty of animals that don't show the neurological problems. But I do think, Clay, people like yourself who are willing to either A, take back animals that have that more neurological issues, or B, not sell the ones that have the more neurological issues. I think that's a good way to kind of wean out the problems, because I think people that breed the ones that don't have the neuro issues, they're going to pass along those genes of not having the neuro issues,
So I'm so I have the Maya pair that they're in here. I'm excited. I think I'm gonna get something this year, so fingers are crossed. And we'll see what Lieutenant Dan and Tampa do. So that's one of Tony Hurt's snakes. So
What
Yeah.
made you name him Lieutenant Dan?
I
He ain't got
didn't.
no
No,
legs.
Tony did. No, Tony did. Tony did. So
Tony did. Okay.
yeah.
How many clutches are you hoping for this year?
So we've got. I think realistically maybe like 2.25. Because I
Okay.
only got a quarter out of Enigma. So
Hey, a small clutch is a
um,
clutch, man. That's
like
Win
I
is
said, I'm
win.
excited. I want to see what's going to hatch out of those. But yeah. So I'm hoping I get the MIAs finally, and I told Andrew, I was like, I think they're going to go this year, but also that was why I was putting the snakes together, in advance. And again, Billy's like raising his eyebrow, and he's like, I don't know if you need to do that. I'm like, I want them to this. I don't want this guy being afraid of her. I need him to. I don't know. Probably sounds stupid, but I'm like, I'm gonna do introductions, then I'm gonna pull him away for like a month, and then I'm gonna cool the room, and then you know
yeah.
reintroduce him again. So it seems like it's working with the MIAs. So or it's just you know they're calmed down enough finally. They're a little weird. They're a little different. The male kind of acts normal, but the female, you can tell she's um um like she's one of those that will make eat. She'll make anything food when she's ready to eat. Like
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna eat you now. You can just see it when you pick her
Yeah.
up. So yeah, a little more nervous around that one.
Yeah.
But
One thing I will say, you brought up earlier of one of your pairings coming off as blasphemy, MIA to something. What was it?
oh yeah, MIA to a diamond jungle jag, or to anything jag.
I will
I'm
say,
gonna do both. The goal is to do both, but
yeah,
um
Well, I mean, you have a
yeah,
male to be able to put to other stuff. Like
well,
it's just like what Billy was
yeah.
doing with
I'm
with Peterson stuff. It's like, yeah, still do the Peterson pairing, but if you have that male that's available and can do, make it happen, like why not?
I will
Yeah.
say pairing the MIA stuff to any carpet project that aren't Poplins
Put
is
it into
not
Poplins.
is no is not blasphemy to me, because I'm sorry, the MIA stuff, pretty much the only carpets out there that are unrelated. Like I think they should be plugged into everything, in my opinion, because it's just outcrossing. The MIA stuff is the only thing that's going to be unrelated to the rest of the shit in the US. So some people might think it's blasphemy, but for people like yourself who are heavy into the jungle coastal crosses and stuff, I think that's the best way to do it, because there's no outcrossing.
Right.
And
What
like,
better option is there?
it sucks that they came here the way they did, but the fact that people have them, it's the best way to get some new blood in there. Like, I
Yeah,
know
I mean they're here.
they
like-
got here illegally, but they were sold legally, because they were already here, and the people who got them, like,
And they're not going back.
good for you. Like, I think it's a great move to plug it into almost everything, because anything outside of poplin carpets, it's going to hit a wall, in my opinion. Like,
Yeah.
the inbreeding is going to hit a wall eventually.
On a long enough timeline, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, just a few snakes that get outcrossed into that blood, like, will 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 last a whole lot longer than continuing with what we have. So I don't think calling it I don't think calling it blasphemy is correct, in my opinion. Like, I think it's good. So I agree with your.
But
with your
again, why can't we
pairings.
have both? Like if you said just
Yeah.
like I said with the Peterson stuff that Billy was doing, like he was still doing Peterson to Peterson stuff to keep that going. But he also had a Peterson male that he could pair up to other stuff to sort of see what happens. And it's like, what's like, just because you have a pair of them, like are there people saying like you shouldn't pair that to anything else other than the MIA? Like,
Well, the
goofy.
MIAs are a little different, because they were known, as far as I understand it, they were basically from Australia, like, and imported illegally. So it's a little different because the Peterson stuff had been around for a while.
In terms of like the overall,
yeah, no, I get it, but
you can do both and still get
yeah,
the same results.
I just get like, I think where Clay's coming from is people are going to say it's blasphemy because MIAs are potentially some of the only pure jungles out there at this point, you know. But I do think it's important to outcross that stuff.
Yeah,
with some of the captive lines, you know what I mean? Like, I think it's important because they're the only carpets that came into the US other than Popwins that we were 100% sure on, you know.
Yeah.
So Clay, do you have any interest in Popwins down the road?
Yeah, I was working on the some of the trivia stuff today, and I found myself interested in them. So
nice.
It's interesting timing.
Good.
What about rough scales? You need to get you some roughies, man.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know a lot about them. I've heard that they're pretty aggressive. So
they're sandpaper carpets. They're fine.
I've heard mixed things. I've heard people say that they're like the chillest. I've heard people say that they're not the chillest. Like I've heard both, and I don't know what to believe anymore. I've only seen them at Daytona, like in cups. I've never actually really interacted with them to be able to have a firm opinion, but I've heard both. So
rough scales now are how people thought of carpets 20 years ago. A lot of people think they're mean, they're all terrible, yada yada yada. People thought the same thing about carpets 20 years ago. You know, it's
a lot of people still do.
Yeah, and exactly. And it's just like I've handled rough scales that are super calm, you know, super chill. You know, I've seen rough scales that are absolutely horrible, you know. But again, like I love rough scales and I would love a pair one day, but they're not one of those snakes that like you can have a pair, hold back babies, breed those babies, you know, hold back those babies, yada, 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 because there's no new blood coming in. They're going to hit a wall.
I don't know, though, because theirs have already, like, just given their natural history and range, like, all that genetic bottlenecking
I mean, if they, I don't know.
They've already gone through all that, so that's not as much an issue as with some of the other stuff.
And I don't know their range, so if it's a smaller... If it's a small genetic pool, then yeah, all that shit's been worked out. You know, I work with some island locality rat snakes and they're on 5th, 6th generations and there's no issues, you know, because all that shit got worked out. So if that's the case with rough scales, then yeah, for sure.
Like I'm curious, and if someone's listening and they know for sure, like, please let me know because I'm curious. But like the Jamaican boas, for instance, like they did genetic testing on Jamaican boas in captivity versus Jamaican boas in the wild. And what we have in the hobby is more genetically diverse than what's left in the wild currently.
That's crazy.
It is wild. Wow. Yeah.
I honestly don't know the distribution of rough scale pythons, if I'm being honest. I'm so far out.
It's not big.
Well, then that's probably...
And like I said, I don't remember. Someone was talking about it at some point. I don't know if it was on a podcast or it was a conversation at Daytona or something, but I believe, and don't quote me on it, but I'm fairly certain that they said that all that genetic bottlenecking that you would normally see from something like other carpets, you know, that we've
worked out,
limited bloodline stuff that we've had, like, yeah, all that stuff's kind of already come and gone with rough scales, so it's not as much of a issue.
Yeah. Clay, do you have anything other than carpets?
When are you going to get rhino rats?
They're not on the list yet.
Yet.
I don't think
that insinuates that they could at some point be.
So nothing other than carpets at your house currently?
Yeah, no, it's just carpets.
Do you have any future plans to add anything different, or are you pretty much just...
because I gave Billy his Mac lots back. That's why I was having to think. I was like, for the longest time, I knew for sure I had a Mac lots, and I'm like, what? I had, I gave. That's the one that attacked Billy, like, while he was trying to feed his snake. So he had rats in the room, and he said he opened up the bin, and all of a sudden this snake just dove across the room and like knocked open. It was, he said it was just utter chaos in his room, and then he had the rats out, and I was like, that's that. She's evil. She is Satan. Like, we called her Satan, and
Dude,
she got out. I left the glass open, slid open one night accidentally, and she was ambushing up on top of the refrigerator out here. My roommate's refrigerator, and she is afraid of snakes, and that Maclots dove from the top of the refrigerator towards her face.
Oh shit.
And that was when I had that day. I was like, Billy, the roommate, we got it bent up, we got it tied up it's like literally in a tote, zip tied shut. And I'm not opening the zip ties. So we're giving you the snake back. And yeah, it's one of his
Jesus.
females. So yeah.
See, now
So
that's a
yeah, no, I'm all
species that I've
carpets right now.
never heard people be like, yeah, they're super mellow.
Dude, it depends on the Mac,
I
dude.
don't
Like,
know. Most of the time I hear that that's most people's experience with them. But
it's
He
not.
said you have to work with it. I said, how? How do you work with it? He tries to work with it, and it tries to kill him. So I don't know.
It's one thing when they're, a foot or two. It's another when they're 4 or 5. Like, it's just.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Billy's also sick and enjoys that kind of stuff. So
Dude, it's literally like, I feel like Maclots are one of those, or as Smitty would call them, Maclets. Your Maclots, I feel like there's no in between. They're either like super chill and they're great, or they're absolute fucking dickheads, and there's nothing you can do about it. Like, it's same thing with the
Guns?
the Lesser Sundays.
Oh
What-
yeah.
what
Timors.
Timors. Yeah. The same thing with Timors. Timors are either great or they're fucking horrible. Like,
See,
there's
I've heard mostly that they're just horrible.
dude, Preston Converse, a great buddy of mine, had one. I think it's with Chris Montross now, but he had one. Wonderful snake.
So I remember Casey talking about his, and I think Phil held on to one for a little while for Billy, and Phil was like, I'm just not into it. It
just depends on the snake,
Yeah.
man. Like,
I tried it too. I had Timors for a minute, and yeah, just for a quick minute. I don't know, it was like a year and a half. I tried it, and I said, I just wasn't having fun.
Yeah, I mean, because it is like that, like, because that's what I mean. Like, the one that Preston had, so chill, and it was such a beautiful snake. It was so calm. I got to work with it, handle it, and it was completely fine. And when they're like that, they're wonderful. They're so beautiful. But man, when they're bad, they're horrible. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like we've gotten to a point with carpets. It's like with some, like, yeah, they're a little touchy, but you can deal with them. And the majority are pretty okay. Some of that stuff, it's one extreme or the other. Either they're super chill, super awesome, or they're absolutely horrible. There's no in between. And I feel like Maclots, Timors, Duns, they're all kind of in that same conversation. I feel like a lot of the Liasis genus in general is like, they're either great or they're horrible. I had a Australian water python for a while, and I worked with her a bit. I got her as a baby, and she was kind of a bitch as a baby, but as she got older, like, she was pretty chill, and I kind of regret getting rid of her, years and years ago. But that Liasis genus is just hit or miss, man.
They're just souped up Antaresia. They're just Antaresia and 4-wheel drive.
I wouldn't even say that, because Antaresia can also be absolute dickheads. They're just a lot. They're just a lot. They're just a lot bigger than Antaresia.
Like Antaresia if they were the Monstars from Space Jam.
Lifted Antaresia is good. I like that.
I enjoyed Antaresia.
Antaresia are fun, but they're more manageable because they're small.
Like,
They're just as psychotic and horrible, but they're
the children
small.
that I kept over the years always just gave me childhood trauma Getula vibes because it was
Okay, so imagine a 6-foot children's python,
that's
like, you know.
I'm good.
Yeah, exactly.
I just prefer to have stuff that it's very well established, like right out the gate, that you just don't want me to mess with you. It's the sneaky bullshit, the Getula sneaky shit that I'm not into. Where it's like, yeah, we're gonna be cool, and then I'm just gonna latch on just because I feel like it.
The things
I'm
that
not
get
into that.
the things
Just
that
try and bite me right away.
the things like in the Lasis genus, you know, or or Team Wars or stuff like that. I'm fine. Like, if you want to bite me, I can dodge you. It's different. Like when you want to bite me and you're gonna shit all over me. That's where I draw the line. Like, I can't deal with things that are gonna spray
that fucking Tannenbar when I had it.
Yeah, if they're gonna spray musk and shit, like I'm done. Like I can dodge your bites. I can't dodge your hose.
The musking, yeah, they were stinky.
Yeah, and that's what I've heard about Team Wars. Team Wars are bad about that, dude.
Yeah, that was my experience.
Yeah, no.
How big were yours when you had them?
One of them was younger. I can't remember if it was male or female, which one was which, but I had a larger one. I had a larger one and then a smaller one. I think the larger one was female, and then a smaller male. So I had both. You couldn't mostly hold the female.
Mostly.
Yeah, because like you'd pick her up and then, but you can tell when the snake changes.
Oh yeah.
They don't know what's happening, and then they start to think they know what's happening, and they're about to. Yeah, and that's when I would be like, okay, I got to put you down. But yeah, the good chance of getting musk all over you anytime you handled it.
Yeah,
and you couldn't get it off.
That's what Phil's experience seemed to be. Is he's like, dude, you breathe on them wrong, and they're just like musking and shitting all over the place.
Yeah,
like,
and it's
very,
like
very sensitive to that.
It's not very much fun.
It's like projectile shitting, dude. Like, it's not even like, oh, I must on you a little bit like my rat snakes do. No, it's projectile. Like, I'm gonna shit all over you, and you're gonna put me down.
Aim for the fan. Yeah,
it's horrible. Like I said, like a lot of that stuff is like when they're bad, they're horrible. When they're good, they're great. There's no in between. Cool, man. I mean, are you thinking about adding anything different than carpets, in the coming years, Clay?
All right, now.
What about ocelot stuff?
What about it?
Oh yeah, I know you got some ocelot carpets going on.
Yeah. Well, I have. Well, Nikita has some ocelot, but I just actually had one of my the holdbacks from my 2025 is it's a diamond jungle jag. I'll show it to you, and it's got some ocelot stuff going on, and it's beautiful. It's the only holdback from that clutch last year. So,
nice.
Do you have any interest in that? Like those?
None of the others did it either. Not like that. So,
really? The what are those ones that Canon has been getting in the Bredli Jags with the crazy looking white and yellow?
I had to write it down.
Like, do you have any interest?
Stonewash, diamond, jungle, Bredli. And I did. I picked up one of those. I picked up a male. I picked up a non-jag male, and then I picked up two. I had to get two of the jags, and I fought myself back and forth about it, and I ended up I had to talk myself into it. But I got and they are so pretty. Their markings are so unique, and so I ended up getting 3 of those. And by the way, I have not been buying snakes. So this year after Daytona, I bought 1 snake from Balin. That's the first time I bought a snake from anyone in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And then Casey mentioned to me, he said, "You, Clay, I really do, and I thought he was just saying this just to sell, just in sales mode. And I think these are what you would be into. I was like, I've heard this before, Casey, but he was right. He was right. I ended up getting 3 of them. I have never regretted it. I am extremely excited about it. I did not have the money. And then I picked up it's a Diamond Jungle bread light, and that thing's awesome. So I'm excited about all 4 snakes I got from Casey. And the one that looks more diamond isn't related to the stone washes.
Oh, cool.
So I have some options of things to do
Mhm.
later with these. But it gives me something to look forward to in years to come. So, and they're great feeders too. He had them on mice, and they went straight to rats. So all of them that I got from Casey went straight to rats without zero hesitation. The bigger, the better. They're
Yeah,
going to take it.
Nice.
So
that'll be interesting to see sort of where those go, because I know he's gotten a handful in, and so it's gonna be interesting to see what people do with them. For
Those
sure.
are all from Don Patterson, aren't they?
I believe so.
mhm. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah,
He
yeah. I don't know how the Jags will turn out. I'm kind of picky with Jags. I kind of like that clean gamma look, But I think there's a possibility though that even as they change over the years, I still think they're based upon pictures of the parents. I probably will still stay interested in how they look and what I put them with. That's the other thing is I'm mostly interested in the offspring.
Mhm.
Um, and I always think of how is a snake going to look in 3 or 4 years. I always try to imagine 3, 4, 5 years. What's a snake going to look like? So I'm going to try my best to have pairings where the majority of the offspring just stay dynamite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
But
what's
we'll
your
see.
criteria for choosing holdbacks though? Like, are you holding back just anything that sort of stands out to you? Are you holding back a certain number of things and sort of playing the odds? Like, do you have any sort of particular process in terms of what
It's
stays
it's
and what goes?
it's kind of the ocelot diamond jungle jag that I kept from last year. I kept it because it had the most unique pattern
Mm-hmm.
of any of the babies, and all of those babies, people are sending me pictures of them now. They are so beautiful. I don't regret selling them. I'm glad that they got them. I did keep one because they were all beautiful, and so I kept the one that had the most interesting, the ocelot markings.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the 2024 clutch where I had the diamond with Nikita. Um, Honestly, I could have kept all of them, and I had them at the show, and you'll see them now from just since August what they look like now, and they look more interesting than they did then. They were really young then too, of course. So, but they had a year on them, but I guess in the last 6 months, um, yeah, they've brightened up even more. So, um, those are snakes that I didn't really want to sell, that I put some on display in Daytona, and again, one person picked up one, um and um and that was it from that clutch, and I'm glad. I had them all priced really high, and I probably still would have had some seller's remorse even with the price they were at, because
Mm-hmm.
honestly, when you're dealing with this type of stuff, I what's 2 grand. I get 2 grand for a snake. I'm like, okay, 2 grand is nothing when you can drop that into, easily. I drop way more than that into like the snakes I got from Casey. So I'll drop money into snakes when I acquire something that I really want. So for me, the opportunity cost of not being able to breed those snakes later, that bothered me, and
Yeah.
so I didn't sell a lot. I still have 5 of them, and they're all like I said, they're all female. So now I get the fun game of finding unique males that I
Mm-hmm.
think that I could pair with these um, um, beautiful diamond jungle jags that had a pure diamond um, female.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I'm like, all right, I think I'll get some really cool offspring from it.
I feel like it's just really tough with stuff that goes through such a dramatic change, from hatchling to, as they grow. And that was one of my big regrets with that first chondro clutch, was not holding on to more of those. And I told myself, whenever I produce chondros again, I'm definitely going to hold on to way more of them and sort of ride them out and see how they're looking after, an extended period of time before I decide to part with any of them.
If you're more concerned with what you keep versus what you sell, and you don't mind holding on to stuff for a while, especially with carpets. I mean, chondros are probably the same.
Mm-hmm.
But I tell everybody with carpets, if you're not eager to sell stuff super fast, hold on to them for a year.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on to them for a year. Feed them up, get them big, see how they develop. All these things. Like, and the year, when I say a year, I mean that's minimum. The first carpet clutch I ever produced, I sold them all, or I held back a pair or something. And the female I held back ended up being pretty nice. The male I ended up holding back ended up being kind of dog shit, if I'm being honest. Like, I mean, comparatively to the rest of the clutch. And some of the other males that I sold were, I mean, absolute friggin' smoke shows, dude. And all it took was a few extra months to see that, So I tell everybody with carpets, like, minimum a year. At least get an idea what they're going to turn out like, because, some of the runts, some of the more derpy looking snakes may end up being some of the best in the clutch.
Mm-hmm.
It's so hard to tell. Once you produce, dozens on dozens of clutches, sometimes you can kind of get an eye of like, okay, this attribute's going to turn into this, yada, yada, yada. But that takes years and years. And even then you can be wrong. You know what I mean? Like, it's one thing if you're already planning on selling the entire clutch and you don't want to hold on to anything, then get them feed and get them sold, like that's money in your pocket. But if that's not a thing for you, minimum a year,
I think when people are first starting to breed, the upfront costs they're just so high, and the food, just keeping them fed. And so I think that when you have your first clutches, you think you're going to hold back more than you end up just selling them because you just need the money.
Right.
That I did that a
100%.
lot. And yeah, and you have regret later you get more mature in it and you realize, you've been through it before and you've had that seller's remorse. And so
Mm-hmm.
I'm at the point right now um where I'm more likely to hold something back if it's not unique. If I already have one or two or three of them, or like in the case of, well, these the five are weird, but they're not all the same.
Yeah.
But a couple of them are look very similar. Um, but now I know that um, I I'll get more out of it if I keep them than I would, if I didn't struggle with my rodent pro bill or whatever. I'll pay it. I'll
Mm-hmm.
figure out a way to buy the rats. I don't want to sell that snake and regret it later.
Yeah. No, 100%, man. Like, it's just one of those things, if you're only producing a few clutches a year, and this isn't your job, like, it's worth it to, you can pick out, a few to sell right off the rip. Because let's be honest, you're gonna see the one that's super bright. You're gonna see the one that's got this insane pattern, yada yada yada. But say you can only keep 2, but there's 4, but you have 15. Okay, so pick out the small chunk that you want to keep, sell the rest, hold on to that small chunk for a year, and then pick the 2 that you want to keep. Out of those.
You can't really tell with the runts too. And
Oh no, the
I
runs
when I
especially.
know if I'm buying a snake at this point, or if I'm shopping or looking and I see, um, someone says this is the last one from this clutch. I don't think that, I used to think that means that this is the ugly one. This is the one no one wanted to buy. And in fact, it's probably just the runt. And sometimes the runt is just, it hasn't eaten enough yet, and it's about to. And when it does, it's going to be a screamer. So yeah. I don't think the runts are anything to be afraid of.
I can attest to that. I had my second clutch of carpets. I got a set of twins, and the twins weirdly looked nothing alike. One was super heavily patterned, one was super more reduced patterned, and I ended up selling her eventually. But the one that was more reduced pattern, she was extra small, like she was tiny. Granted they were twins, so they were both a little.
She made it though.
Oh yeah, she was fine. She was an asshole, and she loved to eat. she was horrible. But man, I held on to her for a little over a year, and this was kind of when I started reducing the number of carpets that I had. But man, she was gorgeous. Like, had more purples on her than any other of the Poplins in that clutch, and she was something else. She's with a buddy of mine. That's the only reason I ended up selling her, because she went to a good friend of mine who I knew would hold on to her and take care of her. And I actually need to check up on her and see how she's doing. But yeah, she was something else. But she was the smallest snake out of that entire clutch. But ate great right out of the rip. But she was half the size of everything else in there, because she was a twin. But her twin was about a quarter size bigger. You know, when you get twins, like, they're always smaller, but that she was tiny. Like, feeding her a fuzzy out of the egg, I was like, oh God, like, she was really, really little. But man, she really, really good looking snake. So it's funny, man. I tell everybody, like, pick a group, hold on to them for a year. Like, if you got to sell a chunk just to get some cash flow, like, that's all good. But keep a chunk of your favorites and hold on to them for a year. And then if you can only keep two after that, that's when you need to pick. Because after a year, maybe a year and a half, if you can keep them for two, even better. But carpets change so much between hatching and 2 years. It's almost impossible to tell if they're going to turn out.
Should get chondros and pair them to the crazy Patterson animals. Can you imagine a freaking carpondro with one of those things in the mix, dude? Pretty wild.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to do that.
Chondros don't take up a lot of space either.
Nope. I don't like. You know.
Shut the fuck up.
I like when it comes to the carpondro, jagpondro thing. Like, it's not something that I'd feel like I'd go out of my way to do, but it's like, I think they look cool,
dude. Carpondros look absolutely fucking insane. They're so cool looking, but I will never condone it.
I'm not gonna not.
I have a hard enough time
either.
I get on board with the different subspecies of carpets. Like, that's fine. I don't care. It's when people start crossing fucking species, that's what I'm like, all right.
Even if it's in the same genus, though.
I'm not a fan, dude. I'm not a fan. It's not natural. I'm not about
what we do, Jake.
I know it's not, but you're making it even more unnatural. And that's like, I'm not going to yuck anybody's yum. I'm not going to judge anybody that does it. Like, subspecies is one thing, whatever.
Phil King gives me a hard time about my chondros, because most of them are not pure.
Yeah, and that,
I was like, dude, if you were into chondros, you'd understand it.
If you're gonna like the subspecies thing of, like, especially with carpets, I get it. There's no new blood. Like, it's not my thing. Like, but they produce some awesome carpets with it. I get it. When you start crossing species, that's when I'm like, no, it's not my thing.
Start crossing streams.
It's not my thing.
Clay, how do you feel about super zebras?
I think some people are excited about them.
My opinion is exactly that they exist.
Such a good answer. Such a good answer. I love that.
I don't get it.
Mhm.
It's so wild to me that you can have something that looks so cool as a zebra and you put it to another one and you get the polar opposite of a zebra. And like this dick skin tan.
I mean, dude, it's kind of the same. It's kind of the same with anaconda hognoses. Anaconda hognoses are so cool, but you put an anaconda to an anaconda, get a superconda, and it's a patternless animal. It's the same shit, and people love them. You know, it's all about a genetic thing. It's not because they look cool; it's because of what they're going to produce.
I don't know. I just
you put a super zebra to
you
put a super zebra to any carpet, you're going to get 75% zebras. Like, it's not about how they look; it's about what they're going to produce. And
I mean, for me, it's a little bit about how they look. If they're not going to look all that cool, then I'm not going to be interested in doing it.
But the cash flow comes into what they're going to produce down the road because they produce more high end animals.
Now, if you could get a super zebra that's like blacked out,
Xanthic super zebras are out there.
No, I'm talking like melanistic, like black. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that.
Then just keep black pine snakes. I don't know what to tell you.
No,
it's the same shit.
I wanted a black pine snake. I just would buy a black pine snake.
It's the same thing. It's a patternless jet black snake. Go catch a black racer. Bada bing, bada boom. Melanistic super
Bada
zebra.
Bing, bada boom.
What's the difference?
It's a carpet python that's all black.
You get black snakes all the time.
It's like those black bredli that Frame made. Like, that's the dream, dude. Like a super dark black bredli. Like that's all I've ever wanted. And he made it real. They're cool. Have you had bredli at some point too, Clay? Like, that seems like something you would sort of know.
Mm-hmm.
It strikes me as a species that you just kind of have hanging out on the side. Like, you've got some and you enjoy them, but it's not like your main thing.
Clay is a man of taste. Okay.
Bitch. Just kidding. You've kept bredli too, ass.
I had one for a couple of years. I don't know, man.
I really enjoy them. I do love the species.
They're cool.
I get them, and then I have them for a while, and then I'm like, why do I have you? And then I get rid of them.
You've had
I miss bredli, so I get bredli again.
Many
I haven't had that many. I've had a couple.
Harold.
They're just, I enjoy them. It's just, the problem is like I get them, and then I'm like, I don't know why I have you.
You do that. You do that with a few things. You're like, wow, I missed this. And you have it for 6 months. You're like, man, why do I have it? And then you get rid of it. It's a vicious cycle.
You can't be a locality hipster with everything like some people.
Sorry. Just because I'm better than you doesn't mean that. Well,
have fun with your carousel of species, peasant. I have my locality animals here.
I have
my locality yellow rats.
20 different types. I have 20 different types of the same thing to where the naked eye they appear to be the same, but they're not.
Almost to think that I tried to hook you up with such a cool locality of yellow rat.
To be fair, you were about to hook me up with something I shouldn't own. So
it would have been really cool if it had happened.
Yeah, but that wouldn't have been okay, and I wouldn't have been able to sleep at night very well if you would have given me that. So
it's not illegal. It's nothing illegal, people.
But it was unethical.
Morally,
it was very, very unethical. Very much morally questionable.
Okay.
And and full disclosure, I told Smitty, no, don't do that.
Full disclosure, Smitty didn't even think about it being an issue until Jake was like, bro, you can't do that. And I'm like, you can't do that. Sure you can.
No, you can't.
Long story short, I won't name the island, but I had a neighbor that does electrical work on like generators and stuff. And he sent me a picture. He's like, "What's this?" And it was a baby yellow rat. Well, not a baby, but like a juvenile yellow rat.
It was a baby.
It was a really good looking snake. And I was like,
It
dude,
was.
see if you can catch it. Because I was like, tomorrow is my buddy's birthday and he's big into these things. And like, if you can bring it to me, like that'd be a really cool gift. And so I'm like all excited and telling Jake, like, oh, dude, I might have like the coolest birthday present of all time for you. And he's thinking he's getting another ball python. He's like, dude, I swear to God, if it's another ball python. I said, no, this is actually really cool. And he's like, I was like, but I can't tell you if it's what it is yet because I don't know if it's happening or not. And then it didn't. And I was like, man, it was going to be this really cool yellow rat from this certain island. He's like, no. He's like, dude, you can't do that. And I was like, what do you mean you can't do that? He's like, you can't take stuff from that island. And it's not like federally or state protected island or anything like that.
It's not, but this is a very, very well managed island that specifically protects snakes. Like everybody who lives on said island is instructed to call the island, specifically this island's herpetologist, to come remove any snakes. It's very well managed. You're not supposed to kill anything out there. Yada, yada, yada. I've done a lot of work out there before.
So I'm sitting here thinking I'm doing a good deed and doing something cool for my boy. And then it turns out he's just an ungrateful bitch and doesn't want me to.
No, I'm not going to lie. I would have genuinely been upset at you if you would have brought me that.
Well, then I would have kept it and I would have enjoyed it.
No, you would have given it to me and I would have went and released it back because I work for the county and I have access to that island whenever I want.
Oh.
So I would have released it again.
Riders of the Storm.
I would have not felt good about that. I appreciate the thought.
My heart was in the right place.
It was.
I was excited for you for like 30 seconds until you absolutely obliterated my boy.
I really did. I didn't hold back. I was like, dude, don't do that. That's a horrible idea. That snake needs to stay out there. Sorry. I am a herper at heart and I care about my local wildlife.
It was a baby yellow rat. It's probably already dead. If it were an adult, I would have been like, nah, man, leave it. It's a baby. A raccoon probably bit its head off.
Dude.
10 minutes after that picture was taken.
Listen,
I'm a realist, okay?
Yeah, but there's a lot of snakes out there, man.
Clay, back me up. I know he knows what I mean.
Mm-hmm. Well, I can see it. Yeah. Yeah, you might have been doing it a favor.
Yeah, but I never would have gotten a pair for it. It would have just been a pet. I don't need more pets.
But I save a pair from a coral snake.
Yeah, off a public island, off your own property that snakes get marked on.
My property is sacred.
This is literally an island that people are instructed to not kill snakes. Like it's a specific thing there. You don't kill snakes out there because they have a herpetologist dedicated to said island. He only works for this small island. Nobody kills anything out there. Like, I'm sorry, there's a fucking difference. Like, you live on a big island that's public to anybody. This is a private island with a dedicated herpetologist. No.
We'll just chalk it up to a maybe.
We'll just chalk it up to that snake is still there. And I don't have a snake that I would feel bad about.
If I stayed in school, I'd be an astronaut.
Clay, don't give me the maybe. Don't give me the maybe.
Maybe it's there. Maybe it's not.
It's probably going to freeze to death this weekend because it was out in the middle of January, but whatever.
Could have been warm in your room. Now it's a little snakesicle. Like a little frozen tendril. Do you feel good about yourself, Jake?
Shut the fuck.
You happy?
Oh, no, because you sent me that picture and my initial thought was, fuck, I really want that thing.
See? Let the intrusive thoughts win.
You sent me that picture. Goddamn, dude. As a baby, that was an insane looking yellow rat, and I've never seen a yellow rat on that island.
It would have been, but it doesn't do any good when it's half eaten with chew marks from a raccoon or a hawk.
If it would have been from the connecting island, I would have done it because there's no regulation on there.
20 yards of water makes the difference.
It does. To me, it does. Because I respect that island.
I do too.
As you should.
CarpetFest is on February 7th. For information on when, where, all that good stuff, check out the Tampa CarpetFest Facebook group. Join it. If you can't find it for whatever reason, hit up any three of us here and we'll make it happen. This episode, as always, is brought to you by FulviusApparel.com. Use the code THN at checkout. Get 15% off your order. That is the exclusive promo code for THN listeners and viewers like you. Steve Snake Schwerian's Venom Hot Sauce, BlackBoxCages.com, and follow Tampa Snakes. Stay in the loop with all the cool stuff Clay's making happen. Thank you, Clay.
Yeah. Thank you.
We'll see you.
Looking forward to next weekend.
Me too. I think I took Thursday off too, so it's a short week for me, which is even better.
Sweet.
Hope to see everybody there at CarpetFest. It's going to be a great time. Please come out, hang out. Don't be lame.
Yeah. Fun. Save your native wildlife. See everybody later.